For rendering section, we can use Substance Painter, IRay render engine, and even we can use another render engine like Marmoset Toolbag, Unreal Engine, in 3ds Max, Corona, and V-Ray, in Blender, Eevee, and Cycles. And it depends on your purpose and your knowledge. But in here, in this course, we are going to use Marmoset Toolbag as a main render engine. But let's render this part inside Substance Painter with IRay. It's so simple, and we can see what's happening if we render the material. So let's go to the render mode. You can see this is the icon that we can use for switching to the render mode. And in the render mode, we have render setting. We can pause IRayRendering, and you can control the time and the quality of the render with two factors. The factor number one is maximum time. For example, this is a scenario. You have just 10 seconds and you need a render. So you can put maximum time to 10 seconds, or you can change it to minutes or hours. And after that, it's going to stop if reach that time. But there is another condition for rendering, which is samples. So if you render, for example, for 10 seconds and you didn't reach 1000 sample, the render, it's going to be stop. Okay? But if you reach 1000 sample before 10 seconds, the render, it's going to be a stop too. And if you have noise on the material after rendering, you need to increase the samples for rendering. And you can increase time to reach maximum sample, or you can just increase maximum sample and take more time. Okay? This is very easy render engine setup. You have two factor, just two factor. Okay. So we can override the viewport resolution, as you can see. For example, I'm going to post this render in Instagram, so maybe it's good to have a square aspect ratio, as you can see, but we cannot see the camera border because the render engine is paused, and when we resume the you can see what we have here. Okay, so this is so similar to 3D viewport. You can rotate, zoom, or pan the camera. Okay, like this. And after finishing the render, you can save your render in here with any format that you want and any name that you want to. Okay. What else we have inside the rendering in IRay inside Substance Painter? So we can go to the shader setting and enable something like displacement, something like opacity, or translucency for creating glass, or something like that. You can create emissive material and control the emissive intensity in here, or anything else. But the main setting that you can do inside the render engine, it's on the display setting. So you can change the environment map. Okay, so the lighting condition, the background, it's going to be changed. You can change the setting related to the doom, and you don't have doom option when you are in the viewport, and it's totally new. So you can check the clear color, and after you can see there is no sign of background. Okay, you can check the ground and have shadow like this, or you can even turn off the ground and don't have a shadow or reflective pan. Okay, So let's go back and use HDR. I'm going to bring up the plane near to the surface like this, and boom, we have this. Okay, and you have access to camera setting with display setting. We can change focal length like this. Okay, and you can activate the post effect. The post effect is like creating lens distortion. Change the FOV, edge roundness, and create this kind of image. You can add vignette to the render like this. You can create glare and play with the parameter like this. You can use tune mapping option like exposure or gamma, as you can see, but please don't touch to function and change it from linear to something else, because we have aces here, and we didn't even use tune mapping in the Substance Painter render engine, because we have Photoshop or other photo editing software, and we can do this kind of a stuff over there with more option and feature. So turn off the tune mapping, and you can use color correction. For example, you want to increase the saturation of the render, you can do that. You can control the contrast of the image that you are going to be render, and you can control the brightness or white balance. But I strongly suggest you to keep this kind of editing for post-process in the other software like Photoshop or any other photo editing app. Okay, the most important thing is DOF or depth of field, because we can have it inside the render. If I check DOF, you can see we can set focus distance and aperture, and we can control this setting. Okay, and that's it. Let's decrease the aperture, and we have a clear DOF inside Substance Painter with just changing parameter from aperture and focus distance. So this is how we render inside Substance Painter, and we don't use Substance Painter as a render engine at all, because IRay, it's a good render engine, but it's so expensive, and it's not rich in the feature. For example, if you use Marmoset Toolbag, you can do many things like animation, exporting model, exporting Marmoset viewer, and use it in ArtStation as a web browsing 3D model. But IRay, you can just render an image with so many limitations. For example, you cannot add any additional light, and it's a beginning for the issue when you want to render in the IRay. But we need to discuss about that, and this is your choice to render with the IRay or use Marmoset Toolbag as a main render engine for the Substance Painter result. Okay, so let's go for the next video. We are going to export the texture from Substance Painter for this project and move it to Marmoset Toolbag, and we are going to warm up with Marmoset and learn the Marmoset workflow and how it's work, and use it in the future for all project that we have.